Hello everyone, thank you for staying for the AfterWords. Here I have some of our cast. They'll be coming in slowly but surely. I also have the director of the show, Wai Yim, is here as well. You know what, let's give another clap for the cast, because that show is amazing. All right, we have our moderator for tonight, Jill. She'll be asking the cast questions, and then towards the end, we will open it up to all of you if you have any questions or anything like that. All right, I'll hand it off to Jill.
Hey, hello. Thank you for sticking around for that talk back here. These are always fun and interesting. There are a few questions that I'm going to pose, and anyone in the cast who feels inclined to want to answer these questions, raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you. Okay, so the first question is, this musical is set in a very specific time period. What were some things the actors needed to do to address the style of the show? Anyone would like to answer? To address the style of the show?
I'm never shy to talk. Hi, my name's Joe. I play Burrs. I think for this show, it's interesting because it's set in the 1920s. The score is very infused with modern music as well. So I can only speak for myself in terms of the style of the show and the time period it's set in. I did a lot of just research of just looking at pictures of the 1920s, seeing how people were dressed, how they came across in their photos, whether they were happy or not. There's a lot of things going on in 1920 that feel very similar to today. One of those being the influenza epidemic that just kind of they got through, which is very, for us, COVID. And so other big things that are happening, like the end of the Great War, prohibition, these are all things that are, I think, very restrictive on people. There's a focus on supporting the community rather than supporting yourself. And so at this time, for these people, this party could not come at a better time because they need a release from all of these awful things that are happening or have been happening in the world. And so that's kind of what I just looked at. What are the main events that are happening? How does that influence how I feel, and how does that influence the evening that's about to occur? And another thing is prohibition is a big thing. So this kind of party is not a party that everybody could probably throw or attend. So that also suggests something about the status of these people and the type of money they might have and the crowd that they run with. And so those are things that I thought about and influenced behavior and character throughout the process.
You did your research there. I would say that for me, for Madeline True, I was looking at the silent film stars, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, and the precision and cleanliness of their physical action was, within my song, I tried to have the clarity of presentation that those early silent comedians had. Anyone else?
I'll say something.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Lexi. Is this thing on? Okay. This is just something interesting because it happened the other day, but a few of us spoke to Lippa, the writer of the piece, and we were, asking a few questions about time period, and something so interesting that he brought up was that he was interested in the piece being as relevant in the 20s as it is. It could take place at any time, really, because it has influences of music of different times, and he wanted it to feel like it was as much the 90s as it was the 20s, right? That history repeats itself, that we do these same behaviors, that we go through these pandemics, that we go through, that we indulge in things, and yeah, so that's fresh on my mind, so yeah. And also, the makeup.
Yeah.
Jill really taught us how to do our makeup, so thank you.
That's fun. I'm really embracing the style as a real blast for the actors. At least I can speak for myself. Did you have a comment you wanted to make, Mackenzie?
Me?
Oh, I thought you were like, oh yes.
That might have been my hand.
Hi, I'm Wayne, I play Phil. I did a little bit of research on just like queer culture in the 20s and black culture in the 20s, and like a common thread that I was finding is that because of prohibition and people having to be secretive about like going out for parties and drinking and whatnot, is that you kind of had like a weird amalgamation of people meeting in these places to drink, and it wasn't as like, I mean, it was still taboo, but still not as taboo as it would have been like on the streets for black people and white people and all races to be congregating, and queer people feeling a little bit more safe because everybody was there to drink, you know, and so there was kind of that like entryway into community of sorts.
That's a cool answer. You know, interesting that you studied a little bit about queer culture at the time, because I studied lesbian culture at the time, and that is some fascinating stuff, both in Europe and America. This incredible lesbian underworld where the women often dressed as men and had all kinds of, you know, initiation. Just fascinating stuff. So that's, yeah, we both got into some of that. Here's another question. When someone asks you what the show is about, how do you answer that question? Leanne?
This is kind of fun because I see patients for a living, and so I have to like, you know, like, I'm gonna tailor this, but, so at first I was like, you know, it's just really sexy and raucous and 1920s, but then as we dove deeper, I was like, whoa, there's some major issues, right? And issues that happen to me that I need to tell these people about. So violence and trauma, and staying together in trauma, and I think that is how I have told people, you know, it's so fun, we're having a great time, we're all safe, we love each other. It's about a great time, but there is a huge undercurrent of trauma and violence, which I'm sure you all felt that.
I think for me, this story is like every other story. First and foremost, it's about love and what gets in the way. And so for these characters, what gets in the way? And I think for me, it's really, it shows you what happens when you confuse attention with love, and the dangers of replacing healing with distraction. And those are all things that I think every character participates in. They're all looking for attention. They're all distracting themselves from a deep, isolating loneliness or whatever it is that they're dealing with. And we see the dangers of that and the consequences of indulging in pleasures, in drugs, in violence, in excess. And so that's what I would tell people the show is about.
Anyone over here? Anyone else have an idea?
I just say it's a messy party that gets crazy. And read the warning on the website. I mean, it's about a love triangle, quadruple square. Yeah, it's a wild party, and with a lot of madness in it.
I wanted to say one more thing. Wai asked us, like, as a character, which 7 deadly sin we were, and I mean, I think we were just all talking about gluttony, right? But we all chose one, and you might be surprised in some of our characters what we chose. There were I think all of them, but mine was wrath.
Yeah, that was funny. It was like, oh, okay, baby, now it's on. That was funny because we all, like, our characters were all led to gluttony through the other sins, right? Like, mine was envy, you know, finally wanting to be in the spotlight and how I can get there.
Absolutely. Okay, so here's the third question. What is your favorite moment? I'm going to come to each of you. What is your favorite moment in the show?
Favorite moment in the show?
The fight, obviously the fight. What else am I gonna say?
I love singing Poor Child.
That's so fun. I'm a ballad girl, so I love doing that.
I really enjoy all the dancing in the show. Our choreographer Melanie just did an amazing job making everyone look great. So anytime we get to do a really big dance number together, I think it's really fun. Yeah.
This is really hard. I really like my connections with each of these cast members because it has been a really tight group, and every single one of them I try to make a purposeful connection with them every night. But my favorite moment in the show is Maybe I Like It This Way, which is the end of the Act 1 ballad.
I can't choose one because that would be biased. I love the intensity of everybody bring to this show because it's it's such a mad ride from the beginning to the end. I have my favorite song, and I'm not gonna tell you. But during rehearsal or during tag, there's one beautiful moment that kind of like just happened. Is when Natalie doing the cartwheel, and then we went, oh, we'll be fine, with the dress. And then during tag, her dress just literally cover her face, and she's singing upside down with the dress covering her face. And these are the moments that I live for as a director, that the discovery or the moment just happened and you don't plan it. Like I never planned it will be upside down with the dress over her head, and it works, and people loved it, audience loved it, and she loved it, and yeah, those are the moments that I always look for in a production.
But why? Also, her wig fell on the ground. At the same time, it was awesome.
Yeah, and she kept going like nothing happened. I'm like, that's it.
For me, it's Make Me Happy. The last song of the well, for me, it's the last song of the show. I just get I get a chance to just sort of play in that. I do something different probably every single night with that number. It's never the same, and I just really enjoy getting to play.
I have several, it's hard to pick one. One of my favorite moments is when Jeffrey screams with his arms up in the air and leaps onto birds to pummel him further on them. It is so in the style of, the moments where it becomes very 1920s are exciting to me. And then another moment I love is when I sit with Natalie at the corner here and we're just singing a choral part. There's just not much to it, but like attuning my ear to her pronunciation and her dynamics and becoming one chorally with Natalie is like, that just tastes good as a performer. And then my third favorite is when, I have so many favorites, but when I go down into the audience as Madeline True and the look on these poor women's faces, like, oh God, she's coming straight for me. That's a lot of fun.
I really appreciate a lot of the background work that we get to do, because Wai is and was a very gracious director and kind of just being like, this is your spot, do what you do, don't pull focus, And so it's kind of like, it's sort of, especially like over here during the beginning of Old Fashioned Love Story, there's like a good little clump of us here, and I feel like something always goes on because we're like sniffing coke and drinking, and then like somebody falls and somebody does something funny. Like it's just like Joe was saying, it's just play, and it kind of is fun to get kind of lost in the sauce of the world.
The opening number is my favorite. That moment when we're all crossing stage and then all of a sudden the light comes up on Queenie and the show starts. There's something really magical about that moment. And someone who's been obsessed with this show and this music, and to have that happen in front of me is one of the coolest things I think I've ever been a part of. And then at the end of that number, it's the same number, so it still counts as one. At the end of that number, when we sing that final big chord, and it's just this huge wall of sound, and you can hear all our voices just blending together, setting up the show for everybody, I think that's just like a really special way. You can tell when an opening number grabs people, and I feel like this opening number does that.
Yes. I like doing Life of the Party. You probably hate me, but I feel like it's probably my biggest arc of a song, from going from fun to a really dark place of doubt, and I like the journey that the character takes there. Another one. So there's this part where Queenie and Black are singing during Juggernaut at the beginning, and I go upstage to do some cocaine. And one night, the trumpet player, I think he was like warming up his lips, and he was like, but I was like, and so now every night, when I go back there, he's like, and then we have a little fart moment. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Good times. So now let's open up the floor to any questions that you might have for the cast here. Raise your hand. Oh, there's already. He's jumping on the spot. Here you go.
I see from the program several of you, this is your debut with the Blue Barn. So my question is, when you first heard of the Blue Barn, what was your first reaction? And now that you're here in Omaha, is it reality or is it different than what you expected?
That's good.
Wow.
I think the first show I saw here was Dance Nation a few years back, and I'd never seen a show like that, and in a black box theater that wasn't in a high school. So I guess I was just intrigued because I was like, ooh, I feel grown, you know. And every show I'd seen after that had just been so much fun and just so well produced. And then being a part of the show is just kind of surreal. And I kind of like to be a part of the Blue Barn legacy and like put my little stamp on it. So yeah, I feel very, very grateful.
Who else is a first timer here? Oh.
I'll go really quick. I had first heard about the Blue Barn 3 years ago, I think. I had a friend named Matthew Olson who did a show here called The Woodsman. And the one thing he told me about the Blue Barn was that the audience, the community that comes and gathers here is a very open-minded audience. And I think it's especially presenting this kind of show and the scene at the top of the musical, there's the fear of losing the audience too soon. And that has not been the case. The reception has been very, very warm, and the audience has been very receptive. So I would say that what I heard was accurate and true. And appreciate all of you for coming to support Live Theater, and thank you for being open and following the journey with us.
Jeffrey, I think you're a first timer.
I was cast in this like 9 months after everybody else, so I came in completely blind and I missed like the first 10 rehearsals. So I was like, I had no idea what was going on for so long, guys. It's questionable if I do now, but I was just blown away by the talent in Omaha. I'm very new here, and I mean the people in the show. I'm just blown away every night. I'm so impressed by everybody, and Wai was such an incredible director. I mean, everything was so. I had like the least amount of time I think I've ever had to like prepare for a show, and I was the least nervous I've ever been when we opened. So I really think that speaks to like the ensemble and like just it was kind of mentioned before the amount of trust that we all have for each other so quickly. Really helped me like settle into things.
Anyone else first timer here?
It's okay. I think the last time I saw a show here was maybe 2019. There was like a violinist, and I think there were lesbians in it.
Indecent.
That. Okay. Why did you not tell me that? She probably did. I might have forgotten. I have bad memory, but I can remember my lyrics. Well, sometimes. But, and so, kind of what Wayne said, when I told my mom about this show, I was like, well, it's gonna be different. I'm like a grown up now, because the last show I did was like chorus line, I'm just dancing and whatever. So I was like, you're gonna see me on the bed and doing things with a woman, and that'll be new for you. So I definitely felt new for me too. So it I was very grateful to be cast in this. I didn't know much about it. I had a friend send me the audition link and I listened to the music and I was like, oh shit, like this music slaps. So I was so happy to be part of it, and glad that they trusted me that I would be able to take on this role and do it well. And I knew that the Blue Barn audience would be like, yep, this is Blue Barn, and so they weren't gonna like clutch their pearls, maybe just a little bit right in the beginning, because we also did clutch our pearls the first time we ran apartment. We were like, oh, what are we singing about? But, murder, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I gave it up so quick. I'm new to town. Actually, I've been here for 2 years, but because I came here for love, as happens sometimes, and yeah, I hadn't really been acting here that much. I'm teaching and stuff, and supporting and traveling and working out of town, and Mackenzie. She was recording her audition video in my apartment, and she was like, you should audition for this, you're right for Kate. And I was like, I do like that show, and I think I am right for Kate. And no one ever does this show. Like, that's a testament to the Blue Barn, because no one ever does this show. You never see this come up on a casting call, and if you do, you're not gonna book it because Sutton Foster's gonna do it. You know, it's never gonna happen. So that drew my attention, and then I'd seen here Appropriate. Well, no, I saw Appropriate after we already got this. But what I saw before was POTUS, which was fabulous. So fun, and like, female fun. And yeah, bold. I love it. So yeah, it's lived up to the expectation. I mean, I feel like we have such a strong community within ourselves. I think as a performer in New York and stuff, things can feel really like, oh, it has to be perfect, and this is really commercial, and we're not really exploring anything, and do A, B, C, and fill in the spot that you're supposed to fill in. So to have more wiggle room and to have someone leading us with so much like grace and kindness and lifting us up and being like, you are wonderful. This is so awesome that y'all just did this after you worked all day. You know, that kind of encouragement, and that's true, that is crazy that we did that. But to have that, and to have that just makes you better, right? It doesn't bring you down, it lifts you up, and it makes you want to work harder, and it makes you get there, and you know, and that's beauty. That's the beauty of this. So,
Absolutely. Any other questions in the audience for the cast? Yeah? What's that? He's just in 1 minute. One question.
Other than in the show, what is like a lead role or like part you would like to play in another show? Or what your favorite show is if you don't have a favorite role?
Quick go around.
Go.
okay, I've already played it, but I love Sally Bowles. Yeah. And I want to do it forever.
No, that was really good. I'm gonna switch it up and I'm gonna say Velma Kelly's just so I can wear that wig again that I wear in the show.
I haven't discovered what my dream role is just yet, but my favorite musical is Caroline or Change, and I did it when I was a wee babe. I was one of her kids, and I would love to be like the dryer / the bus as an adult. I think that would be really fun, and like a full circle moment, so yeah. I think probably the role I would love to do next would be Bobby and Company, or I would really love to do Come From Away. I really love that show.
As an actor, probably, and the MC. So let's make it happen.
I think I have two that that I want to still play right now. At my age, Diana in Next to Normal, and the mother in Jagged Little Pill.
I love Cats, so I would love to be in Cats. And I also just love doing new work, so anytime that like the Rose does new work, that's like the kind of work that I really love to do.
I really like Dreamgirls. I was already in it, and I picked Jimmy early, so I would happily do that again. But if I did another one, I think it'd be fun to be Aaron Burr in Hamilton. Oh, should I do it? Can someone
Make a call for me too, because I want to be King George in Hamilton.
And I would say anything from Shakespeare for me, and I've played Mrs. Lovett twice in Sweeney Todd and would love to play it 3 more times before I die. So there you have it. Are we a wrap here? All right, thank you all for staying after and chatting with us. And thank you all